Hey guys, welcome to Phorest TV. So recently, and actually not just recently, but a lot of the time we get asked, should I start a blog for my salon? So when we sat down to come up with a blog post, it actually turns out that we had all these different views and none of them are necessarily right or wrong. So what we thought we'd do is sit down and have a talk about it and explain, I guess, should I do it, should I not do it, and the pros and cons of both. So today I'm joined by Chris from the marketing team and Aoife, and we're basically going to kick it off. So I'm going to ask a quick question here, guys. Okay. So Chris, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
You're a salon owner, you're really busy all day, day in, day out.
Yeah.
Should I start a blog for my salon?
Well, I think you should, personally. I think leading with the statement that you're really busy and stuff already puts a negative connotation onto it.
Okay.
But I do think that that's the biggest task that you have to, the biggest hurdle that you have to jump over is the fact that you're busy. Because if you were to say, if I was a salon owner and I wanted to start a blog, it's not going to be an easy process, but it is something that it could be very enjoyable. Like, I myself blog even outside of work, and I find it a relaxed and enjoyable process. So if you do find that this is something that you enjoy, then in the long run, that could actually be very beneficial for you anyway.
Yeah. So then if you're a salon owner and you've decided now I'm going to start it, where do you start and what do you do?
Well, I'd say before you even get into getting a WordPress blog and trying to set it up, why don't you just look at a couple of topics that you might find interesting? I know when I started doing a blog on for filmmakers, a guide for filmmakers on my own personal time, before I contacted anybody, I wrote 5 blogs, and then I sent that into a Film Ireland, the film magazine for Ireland, as it is. And instead of setting up my own blog, I went to them because they already had an established audience. So I was like, well, here's my blog. So that started getting my name out, and I had my Twitter account attached to it, and it was just an easier way to get into it. And after about 6 months, I ended up setting up my own blog. But I thought it's a lot to do everything at first.
Yeah.
But what I did was I took a few of the people that were reading my Film Ireland stuff, and I brought them over to me.
Yeah, cool. Aoife, you ran a nail bar and had your own nail bar, and you had your own blog, right?
Yeah,
So how did you do
absolutely. It? Well, I think it was a blog, but it was more of kind of a photo blog because I went with the platform Tumblr. So
that's actually a really interesting point. A blog doesn't have to be
it
writing.
doesn't have to be word heavy, especially if it's something like the beauty industry.
That's very
So yeah, exactly. So Tumblr is kind of like a website version of Instagram. So it was just photos that I found inspirational and photos of my work that I would put up, and then people could have a look and kind of chat to me about them.
So if you're big into Instagram, you could just basically repost onto Tumblr, right? You could take that same image and put it up on Tumblr, and it's just another
vice
platform.
versa. You can pop your Tumblr images onto Instagram.
So what did you do with yours then? With your Tumblr, what was on it? Let's say.
What was on
specifically
it?
Around nails, was it?
Yeah, it was all about nails. So it was all kind of images from Tumblr because obviously there are tons of people. Yeah, there are tons of people that have Tumblr accounts, and I would follow loads of nail blogs. So I would just reblog their photos of nails. So it would be inspiration kind of for clients. They could have a look and say, oh, I liked those images on your website, so could you kind of replicate that for me? And
cool. That's actually a good point, because you don't have to create your own content either necessarily to have a blog. You can curate. You can take other content that's out there and say, do maybe a weekly or monthly post and say, here's some amazing, interesting things that I found online this week for your clients.
I do think that what you said earlier was really, really nice, and I wouldn't mind expanding on that point, where you say that you don't need to have the blog to actually have a blog. You don't need 300 to 500 words, because what you did was you ended up putting together a center, like a hub where people could communicate and you can chat to people who would eventually become clients. That's pretty much what we try to do with blogs anyway. So you don't need the task of going, I have to write an essay every single week, you know? For instance, I have a podcast. There's no writing involved in that. Every week I sit down for an hour and a half and I just talk nonsense into a microphone and put it out there, and it really helps get my name out there. So it's so true. You can just, it doesn't have to end with the blog, but I think the blog is the first kind of port of call you think of when you want to kind of gravitate a community of like-minded people to you.
Yeah. I personally speaking, just in terms of blog, I can totally see the value. Again, it depends on the objectives that you're trying to achieve, right? So is your objective that you're trying to get new clients? Is your objective that, I suppose it's always going to be kind of partially your objective, is it that you're trying to help people who are already getting treatments or styles to make that last longer, or to be careful saying that. They want to get back in as soon as possible, but to kind of as a value add to the service you provide, I guess. So again, it's about setting your objective, but the approach that I probably would have would be maybe more along this approach in terms of what you did. So it would be having maybe a social platform, and it's such a visual industry, so it's one of those things where I don't say pictures like speaks 1,000 words or whatever the phrase is, but it's proof of what you're actually doing, and if you can put your own work up on it as well, I think that's really, really amazing, you know. It's just one of those things, like you're saying, that when you sit down, it's where do I start? So maybe it's a case of taking up your most successful posts on Facebook, or the ones that got the most likes, and putting them on a blog post maybe, and just expanding a bit on each thing, you know. So how did you know, when you had the Alpha Nail blog, like how often did you post? How did you come up with ideas for content, that kind of thing?
Well, like all the time. I think if you're really into it, you are going to be just constantly on your phone, and like websites like Tumblr, you can post directly from your phone. You don't have to be like logged into any particular kind of website. It's not a long drawn out process. You can just scroll through and reblog. So what was the question?
The question is, how often did you post and come up with ideas?
Oh, so yeah, that's my point. Like all the time, I'd be on the bus, I'd be posting, I'd be in bed, I'd be posting.
But where did you find the stuff to post?
On Tumblr.
Tumblr,
most of it was on Tumblr, so it's just on your feed. It's like a kind of homepage, and you just scroll down, like on Facebook, but it would be all images of the blogs that you follow. So it would just be all nails, so I would just reblog those.
Great.
But
let's say we wanted to start an actual blog, like we'll go into like a traditional sense of a blog, you know, like you set up your, like you did a variety of different ways. Like WordPress is one that's pretty common, so you set up your WordPress, and then you want to start off. Like I'd say, as I mentioned before, like I wrote 5 blogs, but also I wrote like a giant list of topics. I was like determined never to run out of topics. Before I did anything, I already had that list, because one of the hardest things when you're writing a blog is the subject. And that's the one thing that will get you to not do it. You're sitting there, you just got home, you're tired from like 9 hours of work, you have to cook dinner and come up with a subject. No, it's too tough. But if you already have the subject there and a headline already started, you're like, I'll just poke at it a little bit. I will. And that's actually a good tip. If you guys are looking to actually set up a blog, it's one thing I've learned with writing is I end up just trying to throw anything on the page. Like I don't care about quality, but it just gets me down and sitting and writing, and soon enough I just start fixing it up and making it look better. So it's kind of fooling yourself into doing it as well, because you enjoy it when you do it, but it's that moment before you sit down that's really difficult. So just find ways to kind of trick yourself into doing it, I suppose.
Yeah, I think a big stumbling block though is if you're setting up something like a WordPress blog. Setting up a WordPress blog is not an easy thing to do.
No.
So how do you do that is the question. And for me, I honestly think, like you're saying, you should be focused on the content. So I try and find a student or somebody who's a bit technical in the family, or pay somebody maybe. I'm sure there's some student out there that'd love £200 to set up a blog for you and get it running. Because I think if you get bogged down the technical side of it takes. I spent 2 entire days of my annual leave one time trying to set up my own blog, and I got it done after a day and a half. But there was a lot of stuff to do, so that's really daunting.
I agree.
So I'd farm out that work, and I would spend that time on trying to create content, basically.
Yeah, it's true. You want to identify the areas in advance that might chase you away from doing this, and solve it before you come to that task, you know?
Okay guys, some really good points there. So thanks everybody for watching. Underneath the video here on the blog, we're basically going to have lots of points on how to get your blog started and the pros and cons. So thanks for watching guys, and until next time.
Let's grow.
Let's grow.